Uncertainty is the theme in Ottawa right now. Parliament is suspended. A Liberal Party leadership race is around the corner, and it's an election year. So where does that leave the territories? And after a decade of Justin Trudeau's leadership, how are Northerners doing? To find out, I spoke earlier to N.W.T. Liberal MP Michael McLeod. Thank you for joining me today.
Thank you for inviting me. Happy New Year.
And Happy New Year to you as well. It is quite a time to be in Ottawa right now. How do you think Trudeau's resignation will affect most Northerners?
Well, I think, it's certainly been an interesting couple of days. It's been very exciting and in many ways it's also very concerning. I've heard from a number of people across the north. Some are happy that they've been asking for the Prime Minister to step down. They want to see new leadership with the Liberal Party, and there's others that are quite concerned. So I think there's really a mixed sense of feelings out there because we're not totally sure of the future.
Yeah, certainly a lot of questions coming out right now, not a lot of answers because there's so much up in the air. One thing we can talk about, though, is some of the legacy of Justin Trudeau. And I wanted to ask you if you think that he did enough, specifically in the North, especially with regards to issues like infrastructure and housing, where there are still some major gaps.
Well, I think the government, under the leadership of Justin Trudeau, did a lot of good work. They did many deals where there was transformational change during his time in office. I believe Justin Trudeau is the one Prime Minister in my lifetime who really understood the needs of Indigenous and Northern communities. He's probably one of the few party leaders that knows where Fort Simpson is, and N.W.T is, and Norman Wells, and Uvik, and Tuktoyaktuk, and he's been in most of the communities, paddled most of the rivers, and we've seen a lot of investment in North, historical amounts, and I've been in politics for a long time. I've never seen anything that compares to what we've been receiving in the Northwest Territories, in Indigenous languages, in infrastructure, in clean energy, conservation, and housing. We've never seen that.
Yeah, I mean, I would ask, you gave a long list of accomplishments, but what would you say to people in the Northwest Territories who might listen to that and say, that's nice, but I still don't have adequate housing, or I still don't have enough roads in my community. I still don't have a highway that connects my community to other communities. So if somebody were to ask questions like that, looking at the record of Justin Trudeau, what would you tell them?
Well, I would certainly point to some of the detail that I could provide. For instance, in the area of housing, we're close to $1 billion of investment in housing since 2015. Every Indigenous government has received housing money. For the first time in our history, we have two streams of money coming to the Northwest Territories, and some of it's coming direct to the Indigenous communities, Indigenous governments. There's been more infrastructure money provided to the Northwest Territories than ever in our history. If anybody wants to look back to the time the Conservatives were in power, it was pitiful. We certainly wouldn't hesitate to put our track record on a table and put it up against anything Para Poilievre is advocating for, because you won't find any detail in the Conservatives' plan. It's all slogans and verbs and nouns, and a lot of stuff that doesn't really make anything, doesn't give us any comfort that you're going to see investments.
I also wanted to talk about Trudeau's record with Indigenous people. An Anishinaabe columnist for the Winnipeg Free Press calls Trudeau's legacy with Indigenous peoples in Canada, quote, complicated and contradictory. What do you make of that statement?
Well, I haven't seen the statement. I'm not familiar with what she's talking about. I think you only have to reach out to the Indigenous governments in the Northwest Territories, and you'll see how much interaction has happened. The Prime Minister has been probably one of the Prime Ministers that has been very easy to get access to. He's made sure his ministers pay a lot of attention to Indigenous issues. He's taken the department and divided it up to 3 different sections so that ministers can take the time to work with Indigenous governments. There is still a lot of work to be done. I would have loved to see more things happen. We had challenges because we get pushback from other parties. Not everybody's on side with reconciliation, and it's going to take time.
Okay. MP McLeod, thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for talking to me. Appreciate it.